Scarefest Radio is sponsored by Spirit Mechanics for your spiritual health and well-being. Find them on Facebook. MECHANIX. And by Coyote Chris Sutton, bringing light to the darkest places. CoyoteChris.com.
What's wrong?
I'm fine. Why?
Keep looking over your shoulder.
What if that guy did this to your car?
What guy? The clown? You really think someone slashed my tires?
He knows this is your car. He saw us getting into it earlier.
Hey, handsome!
Cut it out.
My friend wants your number.
Kill you.
Look, that guy was harmless. He was just some douchebag in a costume acting like a retard because it's Halloween.
Viewpoints and beliefs presented on this program do not necessarily reflect those of the management, the affiliates and broadcast partners, or the sponsors. Listener discretion is advised.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to Scarefest Radio. The original broadcast date is December 21st, 2018, and may I pause and wish everyone a very Merry Christmas. And you know what, Jason, I might have to switch the theme music from the normal hard rock guitar stuff that we use to the catchy little tune like the Christmas song I played. I saw you all dancing. I saw my co-host and my guest dancing on screen. So we might just have to I might just dick around with the theme music. Everybody, you're watching Scarefest Radio. Tonight our guest is David Howard Thornton. You know him from Terrifier. And also, if you're into internet stuff, Nightwing, Escalation. And of course, my co-host is the highly versed horror person, Jason Boyd. Jason, hey, thanks for showing up tonight, buddy.
That's my pleasure.
And for the viewers, tonight, I thought tonight would be, with both of us on here, that would just be a special beard-centric. Enjoy the beards tonight, ladies. I just wanted to throw that. Jason, actually, and I downloaded the TikTok app because it was on my Facebook 24 freaking hours a day, and I wanted to see what the hell it was. Apparently, beyond the teenage girls, the second most popular thing on there, dudes with beards. Were you?
Yeah, for some reason I see a lot of the beard stuff on my Facebook. I'm not exactly sure why. I'm not exactly sure what it's trying to tell me here, but yeah, we'll definitely have to check that one out. And
well, I can tell you why you see it on Facebook.
Movement that I've been tagged into, so that was pretty cool.
Facebook just looks at your damn profile pictures and goes, "Oh, he has a beard. Let's send him ads for beard oil." I mean, my God, if you
toaster for that matters, it starts putting up toaster ads, so it's kind of creepy. But
exactly. Tonight, everybody. Okay, before we get to our guest tonight, we have in my possession 2 tickets to Ronnie Millsap at the Lexington Opera House. These are mezzanine level. That means they're not the shitty seats. These are mezzanine level aisle seats, incidentally. And we're going to give them away. We're going to give them away on Twitter. I want you, we will later in the show, just here in a few minutes, after the first commercial break, I am going to tell you what I want you to do on the Twitter app. Tag at the Scarefest, get all that all loaded and ready, and we are going to give away 2 tickets, courtesy of iHeartRadio, to the Ronnie Millsap. This is $106 value. Screw you if you don't like Ronnie Millsap. It's worth $106 right there. So, got that to do. And beyond that, well, it's Scarefest Radio. You know what's coming up, everybody. It's hard to tell what's going to happen. Mr. David Howard Thornton, welcome to Scarefest Radio.
Hey, how you doing?
Doing just fine. Now, okay, right out of the bat, I got to ask you. Okay, I understand you're from Alabama.
Yes, sir.
How does one make the transition from growing up in Alabama to anything?
It's a little bit of a transition, I would say. Yeah, I mean, I grew up in Huntsville, which is a little bit different from a lot of the rest of the state of Alabama because it's a town of engineers and rocket scientists, and it's kind of like a big suburbia with a small city. So I had both worlds at once, I guess, in a lot of ways. But yeah, I adjusted. It took me a little while, especially when I moved here to New York. I was that guy walking down the street, waving and saying hi to everybody, and people like looking at me like I'm out of my mind. So,
well, what hit me was you're before Terrifier came out and before Nightwing, your main thing that everybody knew you for, because I understand you won like a podcast award. You were known for your voiceover work.
Yes,
and I'm thinking, okay. I'm told that I have a good radio voice, but every now and then, as in just now, that Kentucky accent comes out full force, and so I've given up on ever being anything in the entertainment industry other than my little corner here. So
McConaughey.
Well, yeah, but if I had abs, hey, but you know, I'm not working for shit. But I mean, did you just not? Were you lucky enough not to, and that sounds terrible for my Alabama fans, were you lucky enough not to have a strong Southern accent, or did you have to train yourself out of it?
I really didn't think I had too much of an accent, but then a few years ago I went and listened to my old voicemail message, and I was like, oh, shit. Hi, how are you doing? This is David, and I'm like, oh, wow, it was there. Shoot. I guess after years of just doing, stage work and being around so many different accents up here in New York, I've kind of lost mine in a lot of ways. So I've been here 12 years, so I had to learn how to get rid of my accent in some ways. But it comes out. It'll come out when I've had a little bit to drink or I get pissed off at somebody.
Or my problem is... especially if I'm around somebody that has a real Southern accent, like we've got these ladies that come to Scarefest called they're the Southern Gypsies. I want to make sure I get the right one. And they all have this twang, this deep Tennessee mountain twang. And when they're on, I can't help myself. So it's it just comes right out. Bless your
heart, that type of hey, how y'all doing? Yeah.
Exactly.
Oh, I know all too well. I know it's funny. I'll slip into it from time to time too, and it's like, oh crap. Especially if I'm talking about places I grew up at, like cities in Alabama, like Decatur, or that's when it comes out. And I say Decatur, Gunnersville, and I was like, yep, there it is.
Jason, over to you.
Yeah, so that's the thing about us Kentuckians is we actually can even determine what part of Kentucky you're from just by the way you say Kentucky or ice or rice or nice, and we could say, yeah, you're probably southern, Harlan, Hazard area, or maybe Paducah. So yeah, we completely understand that, and it's funny because I don't, myself, I don't think I have much of an accent, but then, like you said, I hear myself on voicemail, or some of my friends from the north, I'll start talking. They're like, "Jesus, you are southern as hell," and I'm like, "Really?" I don't. I'm just like, I don't hear it, but
Yeah.
So yeah, I completely understand about that, and and it really amazed me with like The Walking Dead, Andrew Lincoln. I had no idea that dude was British. Like,
me neither.
And I was like, wow, he speaks better Georgian than most people in Georgia that I know. So
yeah,
I mean, that's like, you guys, it takes talent, especially when you grow up in the South, to try to lose that drawl and that dialect. So of course, this guy's from Britain and nails our dialect and everything down pat. So
well, the Southern dialect and the British dialects are very similar. They evolve from each other. So that's why it's easy for like Brits to do Southerns, and I've always had an easy time doing British accents too, for that very same reason. They flow right into each other.
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty amazing. So I mean, and that's like you said, you being from Alabama and everything, we kind of expected a little bit more of a draw there and stuff. So you've mastered that technique there.
Yeah, I can bring it out if I have to, but I just years of experience, I've gotten rid of it. But I'm like, but even in like my hometown, we don't have as strong accents as when you go to what we call to LA or Lower Alabama. That's when you get the real Southern.
It gets progressively worse, especially with Kentucky. It gets progressively worse the further south you go.
Yeah,
and so it's when you start getting into the yonders and hollers and ice and nice and so you start getting all that, then you're like, okay, yeah, I'm starting getting further south here. You can definitely tell the difference.
Yeah, I did a show in Prestonburg about 6 years ago at Jenny Wiley Theater. So I was there for a few weeks. So yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about the hollers.
Yeah, they've got their own complete language down there. So it's and even sometimes those of us that live in like Lexington go down there, we have to kind of like learn their lingo and their So I completely understand that. So I mean, how did you get as far as being in Alabama? How did you break into acting and all that? I mean, did you was somebody just kind of approach and say, hey, you'd be great as a killer clown? Or
No. I mean, I grew up doing theater. I mean, like my parents were like very involved with our church theater.
Yeah.
And so I grew up doing plays about Jesus all the time. Like Moses and the Freedom Fanatics or something like that when I was a little kid. Oh, Lord. But it was, I was in middle school and I was having a lot of problems with bullying and stuff like that. I mean, it was a really tough time for me. And like my personality at home or even at church was different than what my personality was at school. And I was always just joking around doing all crazy characters and stuff like that at home. My mom's like, have your classmates ever seen this side of you before? And I'm like, no, I've never had a chance to show them that. She's like, well, you need to like get involved, maybe do some theater or something like that. And so she encouraged me to start auditioning. And I my first really big role I got, I would say, was in middle school in a production of Mickey's Christmas Carol. I ended up playing Mickey Mouse / Bob Cratchit in that.
Nice.
And then that was just there. And then she's like, well, let's get you involved with like the community theater. So I auditioned several times and I finally got involved in the community theater. And I discovered this whole new aspect of it all that I loved was like, instead of having people just laughing at me all the time, they were laughing with me. And that changed everything for me. And I was like, oh, this is nice. I like this. And that's where I think that just started me on my path. Did like theater all throughout high school with both, high school theater and community theater. But I went to college and I was trying to be very pragmatic because I come from a family of teachers and engineers. And I was like, okay, so acting, I would love to do that, but I wouldn't be able to support a family and have kids and all that kind of stuff. So that's going to be hard to do with an acting career. But because I love children, I was like, well, I could become a teacher. I'll be like most of these other people in my family. I'll go into teaching, and that's what I did in college. And it wasn't until after my mom passed away while I was in college, she had cancer, that I had a whole perspective shift about life because of our last conversation with each other, where she was just like, don't do what you think you have to do with your life. Do what you want to do with your life, because we only have one shot at this. Don't live with any regrets. And I took that to heart, and it was like my final semester in college when I was doing my internship, and I was just kind of in a downward spiral because a lot of other things happened in my life around that time. It was like a year after my mom passed away, and I was like, I was not happy, and I had that realization. It was like, what would make me happy would be entertaining people for a living. And I talked to my dad, and I expected him to give me this long speech about, oh no, you put all this time and effort and money into this, and this is what you need to do. I mean, he's a NASA engineer, that's just how they are. And he's like, no, your mom and I always thought you needed to go into acting, but we didn't want to tell you what to do with your life. We wanted you to figure out for yourself what you want to do with your life. And I was like, oh, crap, wow. I had a whole speech planned and everything, and you ruined it. But thanks. Okay. And that's what I did. I finished up my degree and spent about a year or so back in Huntsville just doing community theater and working so I could raise money for myself. And then I moved up to New York, and the rest has been history.
So, I mean, so they were pretty much behind you, from the start then. So,
Yeah.
Because it sounds like, they already kind of had you pegged and, just kind of waiting for you to see it and figured out that was that was your calling. So, I mean, I'm me personally, I'm glad that they backed you on that. And, like I said, because, from the works and things I've seen, I mean, you definitely got something going on there. So, and especially with the whole Art the Clown thing, I mean, that's kind of, that's a bit unnerving character. So I'm impressed.
Yeah, I never expected that because I always did comedy. That was always my focus, was doing comedy, especially physical comedy. I did a lot of children's theater, which kids are very much into the physical comedy. And I guess that's kind of what led me into playing art, because that's what I grew up doing, was physical comedy. And I was like, oh, well, this transitions very well into the character of art. So didn't know I was like preparing myself for years.
So, I mean, do you think you will actually like stick with the whole art thing, or maybe or expand into horror, or you think is that kind of a one-shot thing, or?
Oh no, I'm willing to keep doing it as long as I can. I'm open to everything. To me, I just love to entertain. So it doesn't matter if it's horror, comedy, romance, whatever it is, as long as it's something that's fun and I'm entertaining people, and that's all that matters to me.
Well, in my personal opinion, I think, especially with Terrifier, it breathes new life into horror. It actually gives fans some hope that there is something, that's new but old school. It has that old school vibe to it. Because me, I'm one of these crotchety old men that are like, they just don't make horror movies like they used to, and I miss the 80s, and But then I watched this, I'm like, wow, I mean, this is good. I really like this. And I like this character. He's kind of cornball, but at the same time scary as hell. So, and I was like, I'm hoping that they'll approach you and be like, hey, since Art can, I don't want to spoil the movie for anybody that hasn't seen it yet, but check it out for the listeners. But I'm hoping that he'll make more appearances and can maybe create a whole series of these. And,
I would love that.
I for sure would. I mean, like I said, I enjoyed the hell out of the first one, so I'm hoping that they'll kind of be like, "Hey, won't you come back and do some sequels for us?"
Of course. I will keep doing them as long as I can. I love the character. He's so much fun. He's like an evil Mr. Bean. I mean, how could I not love doing that?
That's kind of one way to look at it. So
yeah,
like I said, and Wes, like I said, of course, I'm the horror, the horror freak there. I'm the one that loves the horror movies, and like I said, Wes enjoyed it. So that that says a lot there.
Yeah, it does.
Everybody, we need to jump in here and take our first commercial break. You're watching Scarefest Radio. Do you feel lost in life? Do you seem to be stuck in emotions that are not yours? Is your home not the sanctuary it should be? Contact Spirit Mechanics, where they take a team approach to your metaphysical and spiritual problems. Spirit Mechanics specializes in aura cleansing, stone attunement, attachment removal, and house cleansings. Spirit Mechanics tailors their approach to your individual spiritual path and needs. Find them every month at Lexington, Kentucky's Mystical Fair, mysticalfairlex.com, or on Facebook by searching Spirit Mechanics, that's MECHANIX. Spirit Mechanics, for your spiritual health and well-being. And welcome back, everyone, to Scarefest Radio. Okay, first thing, business. We're going to take care of business now.
All right.
An evening with Ronnie Millsap, February 28th at the Lexington Opera House. First person that will tag at the Scarefest with Ronnie Millsap. Just say Ronnie Millsap. I'm watching the Scarefest Twitter page. First person that says, I want to see Ronnie Millsap. I like Ronnie Millsap. Who the hell is Ronnie Millsap? You will win the tickets to Ronnie Millsap, February 28th. Aisle seats, mezzanine level, and so I'm watching that now. Okay, now back to our guest, Mr. David Howard Thornton. Now, Terrifier. Like I said, I was telling him before the show, not a big slasher guy usually. The show, but I gotta say, the movie was seamless. I'm gonna put it that way. Kudos to you for your part. Incidentally, creepy motherfucker. There, I never dropped the F-bomb. But the directing on it was just off the charts. I gotta say, it was just so quick moving. And to have a movie based on... Now, first of all, I think you were a mime. You weren't really a clown because you never... How in the hell... Okay, first thing I want to say. Slinking around in clown shoes, very, very impressive.
Yes.
But the other thing is, I'm used to these silent killers, okay? Jason, that type character. But for some reason, the silent characters that I was used to was, oh, he's silent, that's so scary. When I watched you on screen, because you were so, even through that makeup, your facial expressions came through. You did so much with your mouth. It was incredible. You not speaking just made it that much creepier. I mean, that's the only way I can put it. Now, the question to follow that up is, how was it being known as a voiceover artist to do a movie, get your big break in a movie? You didn't have a damn line, buddy.
No, made it easy. I didn't have to memorize anything. I love that. Yeah, I love the irony there. That's what was so funny. It was just like, oh, so this is, because that was like my biggest skill set as an actor. I'm like, every part I've ever played, I've always tried to do a completely different voice. That's because that's what I've relied on, is my voice to sell the character. And I'm like, oh crap, now I don't have anything. I just got to sell this with my body. Oh boy.
I would say you did it, and I realize you had the fake teeth for the costume. But when you smiled at that lady at the beginning of the movie in the restaurant, when she's glaring at, and you do that smile, I mean, that's the kind of thing nightmares are made of before you get to kill anybody. I have to put that out there.
Oh yeah, it's just like that was such a fun scene to film too. It's just like, because that's actually kind of a real life situation for especially a lot of women, especially here in New York, with people in the subway or in restaurants, where guys will just sit there and just stare at them like that. So, it was, I was like, oh, now we get to kind of put that in a horror film and play around with it.
Now, I know nothing about acting. When you were laying this course, and I'm not dumb enough, did it give you nightmares? No, I realized it was a freaking movie. But, okay, now because you did feel, you were limited. You couldn't change voices and everything. You had to do everything through expression. That scene, for example, no big spoilers here, everybody, because it's at the beginning of the freaking movie. Did the director what the hell just happened? Did the director just say to you, glare at her and then smile? I mean, did you think, how goofy can I be? How flirtatious can I be? How did you position yourself to do that so perfectly?
Yeah, that's basically what he said. It's just like, I want you just to glare at her and then just give her a huge smile. After a while, I'm like, okay. And then with all the other facial expressions, Damien's just like, hey, I'm just gonna let the camera roll on you for a little while. Just keep on making faces until we say cut. I think I was sitting there for about 5 minutes just making different faces, and they forgot to yell cut, and they're like, oh shit. They're like, we're sorry, we were watching the show. I was like, oh, well, I think you got enough footage now for like a few years. So that was what was fun about working with Damien, because there were times where he knew exactly what he wanted from me, down to like the facial expressions and everything. Other times he's like, you know what? Let's just see what we come up with in the moment, and we'll just play around with things, and whatever happens, happens. So it was fun having both sides of that, so we could really experiment a lot with this.
Now, the only thing I will say that I was a little disappointed about in the movie, and it was actually a good scene, but it's not something you expect in a slasher movie, was when you pulled the gun, dude. When you pulled the gun, and it was stylized, it was beautiful, but when it happened, I'm like, what a cop out. I mean, he's been so creative up till now.
Well, you know, I look at it this way. That's not the first time that's been done in a slasher film, and they did that especially in the Scream movies a few times. It's most notably Scream 2. But yeah, at that point, I looked at it this way: that's Art's contingency plan. He doesn't want to have to use a gun, but he also doesn't want to lose. So he's going to do whatever he has to win. So that's what he used, is his gun. He's like, yep, well, that's my backup plan Z. And at that point, I think he was also just done with Tara, because I look at it this way: he was trying to break her mentally. Mm-hmm. And at that point, he could tell that he just could not break her. He was not going to win there. He's like, well, screw it. All right, I'm done with you. You're no longer fun. Bye.
And I want to agree with you, because the screw it effect came through on screen, even without voice, without anything else. The expressions and the way and the movements, the way you did it. Once again, in clown shoes, very impressive. It did bring that emotion out.
Is Art, is he like a demon, or is he some kind of a otherworld entity, or I mean, can you elaborate on that, or as far as?
I cannot yet, because we want to explore that more in like future films.
Well, because I've been researching the shit out of his character, and I've got a whole hypothesis on what he is and where he came from and everything. But and obviously I was kind of like, I'm going to get straight from the source here, but at the same time, if there's something more sinister behind here, I don't want to spoil it for anybody, but I was just kind of like, I once I get into this rabbit hole of, well, who is this guy? Where does he come from? What's he doing? Is he demonic? Is he, alien? What's going on here? So, so I'm interested to see where they take this now. That's why I'm hoping they'll make sequels and keep it.
Well, we're in the process of writing the sequel right now. I think we're almost done writing it. So, I mean, I at this point, I do know who and what Art is. And I think there's some clues here or there. I mean, you can definitely tell by the end of the movie that there's something else going on. So, yeah. But we want to definitely explore some of that. I've had fun reading like a lot of the conspiracy theories and everything about who or what he is. So that's been a lot of fun for me. And I hope in a way that we don't just reveal it all at once, that we just have like a trickle, like a little slow trickle here or there, little clues here or there. Because I think that's part of the fun for the audience as well, is to, the mystery of who or what he is. It's kind of like the Joker. We still don't know who the Joker actually is after 70 plus years of Batman.
Yeah, that's kind of where I was at with it. I'm kind of, like I said, I've got my own fan conspiracy theories going on here, and I'm branching out and looking at this and looking at that. So, and that's kind of was like, that's kind of the burning question. Of course, a lot of the Facebook groups. I'm a member of a ton of horror groups on there. So yeah, we've got all types of we're breaking you down, trying to figure out what is Art, what's the story, where does he come from, and
I love it.
Yeah, so that's and that's where I'm excited about the sequels, and then the fact that you guys are actually working on the trickle effect's fantastic. I mean, that's going to really keep us in suspense.
Yeah.
I mean, that's of course it's going to drive me nuts because I'm still going to figure out everything, but that's the whole point. Drive me nuts. So
exactly. I mean, look, you didn't know who Freddy Krueger really was until like the 5th movie, anyway. You didn't get his full backstory.
And that's true. I mean, because there's a lot of, Jason, we don't really know. I mean, I know that there's a fan film being made with, that's supposed to introduce his father. Because you never really heard anything about Jason's father, film. So, of course, I like the, like the different type of universes and things that when they have these characters, like, I'm sure you've read the comics, the Freddy versus Jason versus Ash comics and, how they tie Marvel Zombies into the Evil Dead's, universe, and so, and who knows, maybe we'll have a Art versus Freddy versus Jason versus Ash or something at some point. I mean, that would be the epic battle of the century, I think. So I would buy the comic.
I mean, in my head, I know it's not. Of course, this is not true, but in my head, I like to think of Art as like the bastard son of Freddy Krueger, anyway. So. It's like a Freddy Krueger and Harper Marx.
That's going to be another pin in our bulletin of possible conspiracy theories here. So,
I mean, it's not true, but I mean, it's just it's fun for me to think. It's like, yeah, Freddy's my dad.
I do need to jump in here. We have a winner. That was about as quick as anybody's won anything from me forever. MJS Snyder. MJ-AKF supporter. You are tonight's winner. I will get with you on Twitter via the Scarefest account and get your address, and we will mail these tickets to you in the coming week. Got plenty of time, though, because it's February 28th. So we got 2 tickets giveaway, and I just want to thank you for playing our online game. That was so easy. Now, real quick, Jason threw out the thing, fan film. Now, you also were part of Nightwing Escalation, played the Joker.
Yes.
First question is, okay, I'm noticing you're playing a lot of parts with white makeup.
Yeah, the funny thing was I got cast both as Joker and as Art basically in the same week as well. So that was 2 killer clowns in white face in the same.
Yeah, so is that hard on the ego, or do you just take the check and run? Of course, I realize that.
I just take the check and go with it. I'm like, especially Joker. I'm like, he's like my favorite villain of all time. I'm like, that's a dream role for me. He's just such a fun character. I mean, he's just so evil. It's just I love those types. I love like funny villains that are scary at the same time.
Now I didn't get I haven't watched a lot of it. I watched a few of the episodes you were on. I thought you had a very classical take on the Joker. I appreciated that, being way too old for this job. But how does something like that get done? Nightwing Escalation. I realize you weren't in on the ground floor, but
right.
I'm looking at this. Basically, this is the bastard child of the movies, because it's not authorized by DC. It's something that has to be non-profit to keep, so that there's nobody to sue.
Exactly.
But how does a project? Because that is a well done project.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm looking at how can you do something like that with almost no budget and put together something that quality.
It's all fan made. It's just like all of us that make it are big, huge comic book geeks ourselves. And it's like the first 2 seasons, which I wasn't a part of, but like the first 2 seasons are kind of rough. And it was like the 3rd season, by that time they had like gotten such a fan base of people that they could find some professional people to come in and help, flesh out the scripts, or, help film things and all that kind of stuff, as well as, get some quality actors in there as well. And that's just everybody loves the source material so much that I don't mind. I don't get paid to do it, but I don't mind. It's for me, it's fun.
Oh, and I could tell it had a huge fan base, and like I said, what I saw, I'm going to go back and watch some more of it, because it was enjoyable. even now, this is something that I saw somebody write them about early on the first 2 seasons. But by the 3rd season, even the fight choreography looked pretty damn good, and that's hard to do on a budget. I don't care who you are.
Yeah, it's more of the people that we've picked up along the way, especially Jared DeCroce. That's one of the directors for a lot of the episodes. He's a stuntman himself, and so he's bringing that what he has done to the series. I mean, he's been on like a lot of the Marvel shows and stuff like that, like like Daredevil or Luke Cage and stuff like that, Gotham, and so he knows his stuff. He's awesome.
So hey, David, can you tell everybody where they can watch this at? So if they want to check it out, because
sure, it's called Nightwing Escalation. It's my scenes are all in the 3rd season. It's all on YouTube, so you can find us there on YouTube under just Nightwing Escalation. Nice.
So we'll, like I said, we'll definitely put that up on the Scarefest page, and like I said, and I'll, obviously I'll share it to my, page as well. That way people can check it out, because,
right.
With all the, all the work and stuff that you've got going on, I'm sure that they would love to see it, because and of course, Terrifier was on Netflix, I know, and that's where I actually saw it at. So is it on any other streaming that people Shudder?
We're on a lot of the video on demand platforms, stuff like that. Like I don't think we're on Hulu yet, but we're on like Vudu, Amazon Prime, PlayStation Network, Xbox Live, all that kind of stuff. We also have physical copies as well that you can buy from Dread Central Presents, and Amazon I think sells them as well.
Yeah, I actually bought the DVD. I think I initially watched it on Netflix, but I actually bought the DVD because I like it so much.
Cool.
And so that's why I was kind of hoping maybe if you if you wanted to, like I said, throw some shameless promotion out there, tell them where to find you.
Yeah, you can personally you can find me on like Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter under like some variation of David Howard Thornton. Probably the best place to add me as a friend or something like that would be on Twitter, because I think I've basically reached my limit on Facebook and Instagram. Twitter, you don't have follow limits, and I try to follow everybody. I didn't realize I had like follow limits on like Facebook and Instagram until they told me. I'm like, oh crap, because I feel like I wanted to follow everybody that followed me, and I was like, oh darn it.
Well, like I said, they have, I think they have like the fan pages now where you can actually, they can create, like, it's kind of like a, kind of follows your works, and, kind of gives you a little bio and things. That might be something to look into. That way, at least we can keep up with what you're working on and, what you're doing.
I need to do that. I suck with technology. As I didn't get Instagram and Twitter until I did Terrifier, because everybody's like, you have to do this. I'm like, okay, fine.
So of course, with everything, with all the social media stuff and everything, I'm sure it, probably just blew up after that. And of course, with Facebook and Twitter alone, because I think actually you and I follow each other on Twitter. So anytime, usually if you post something up there, I'll usually retweet it to everybody else. So try to do some Follow Me Fridays and things. After we try to help each other out, and some of the other I guess, some of the other, websites and things, we try to like do some cross promotion, help them out. So I always try to make sure that, because like I said, after I saw the movie, I was like, yeah, this guy's awesome. He's got a lot of force behind him. So I try to, tell everybody, hey, follow him, check him out. So, give you some love there. So
I appreciate it. It's just like, I'm still trying to figure out all that stuff too. It's just like I said, I'm like an 80-year-old man when it comes to technology. I'm like, what do I do here? I don't know. I want my nap.
I'm going to chime in for a moment. You mentioned your parents being so supportive of you, and I just have to say, my parents, they've always wanted me to work for Toyota. My parents were the exact polar opposite of you. They were, get a factory job, have a paycheck. All this show business stuff is not going anywhere. Oddly enough, it hasn't. But now on Terrifier, I do have to interject this. Now realize you are not. Okay, once again, I know you actors don't get nightmares, but the hacksaw scene. I want to tell you, first of all, my wife had to leave the room. When that came up, she said, "Nope, I'm done." That's it. She walked out. I guess I'm going to ask just a stupid fanboy question. How weird was that to do in real time?
It was very strange, but that was like the most serious night we ever had on set, because that was a very dangerous thing we were doing with Catherine, because the human body is not supposed to hang upside down, so we would only let her hang upside down for like 30 seconds at a time. So we had like a brief period of time to film, and then we'd have to swing her back up, then swing her back down, film, swing her back up. It was very difficult to shoot that night. Plus, it was 20 degrees, I think, that night, and we had no heat in that room. So, I mean, I know I was freezing cold, and I know she was much colder than I was.
I would say she would have to be, from the parts that I saw.
Yeah.
Yeah. No spoilers, people, but she was cold.
Yeah. My whole mindset right there on that night was just getting that scene done for her sake. So because I did not want her to be nearly as uncomfortable as she was, and I wanted to get it over as quickly as possible for her. But, watching that scene, I'm like, oh my God. Oh my God. Wow.
Like I said, there are a few things that will make me want to avert my eyes. But I have to say, that scene, that was intense. So anybody, if you have not watched this movie yet, it's on Netflix right now. And I'm going to tell you, if you are I can't imagine being a horror slasher fan and not having watched this movie yet. Because as Jason brought out at the beginning of his segment, this is back to the old drive-in movie type slasher movie, where it is just wall-to-wall terrifying, oddly enough.
That's why we did it, because we wanted to just get the genre back to the basics. Because I'm like, I know, especially Damien, we're all like horror fans ourselves, and we've been kind of disappointed with a lot of the horror films in the past decade or so. They've had bland villains. The stories have been kind of boring. The kills have been boring, and it's just like, we need to get. They've tried to become too smart and too intelligent and too pretentious, and just not reveling in what they are. And that's what we want to just get back to what it was back in the day, like where they just had fun. That was the whole point of this, was just to have fun.
Everybody, quick commercial break. Final one of the show. We are going to turn over Jason when I come back. You're watching Scarefest Radio.
Coyote Chris Sutton.
Shamanism.
Spiritual advisement.
Paranormal investigations.
Inspirational presentations.
Bringing light to the darkest places for over 20 years. Go to CoyoteChris.com to learn more. Over to you, Jason.
All right. So, now, like I said, you said you did more of like I said, more like the children's type works and things. What are some other things that you've done as far as maybe kind of like I guess a transitional period? Has it been like kind of just comedy and then horror, or you said you said you're interested in all types of like romance, and I mean, have you worked in anything?
No, nothing. I haven't really done any of those like romantic lead roles. That's boring to me. But I mean, I'll do them if they offered. But I'm like, I've always preferred more doing comedy, or like I love playing villains as well. So that's why I was like, oh, horror, that should be fun. But I never imagined I would do horror. I always figured if I was ever in a horror film, I would be like that, the smart ass that gets killed halfway through. So, like, oh, cool.
Yeah, that's kind of what I figured. I've always dreamt. I always, of course, admired, Dick Warlock and Nick Castle and Kane Hodder and all them, for playing the killers and stuff. But it's like, of course, I mean, those guys are kind of big and brooding and everything. So I mean, naturally they have that, But you don't have like the big brooding appearance with Art, and he's still scary as hell. Just everything about him. And of course, naturally you have people that have the natural fear of clowns anyway, so that just really just amplifies everything. So, this past Halloween I was Twisty the clown. I'm sure you probably
yes.
So, it freaked a lot of people out. And I just after watching the movie, I took some of your cues and just would stare at people, just kind of like twist the head a certain way and just kind of do silly, goofy things with them, just get under their skin and unnerve them and stuff. And I was like, this is fantastic. So I'm hoping eventually, though, like I said, I collect masks. I've got hundreds of them. And I'm hoping they'll come up with an art mask eventually.
Yeah, we're we already have one that's been released by Immortal Studios, like a $600 mask. But later on, I guess now next year, almost this year now, 2019, Trick or Treat Studios is actually in the process of designing the mask they're going to release. And I think they're also doing a whole costume as well, so that's gonna be cool.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping to hear, because I mean, still I love the silicone masks, but they're just a little too rich for my blood. So
yeah,
I stick with these.
Understand. People bought it though. I'm like, wow.
Oh, I mean, yeah. I mean, I couldn't. I had the money. I would for sure have one, but
yeah.
I was hoping Trick or Treat Studios would get their hands on it, and maybe because like they were the one that did the twisties and stuff, and like I said, I got nothing but either that's scary as hell and unnerving, or that's an awesome mask. So I can't imagine what the art mask is going to look like when it comes out.
It looks good. I've already seen like some of the prototypes that they had so far, and it looks amazing. They're talented people over there.
Yeah, I buy a majority of my masks from them just because, I mean, like I said, they're fantastic. They're great quality. I know they had a series of Michael Myers masks that came out there, and so I started out with those, and then kind of worked my way into the to the other twisties, and I think there was a swamp creature or something which is supposed to be like Chud. So and after I saw that, I was kind of like, they've got to make an art mask now, so I can have that right next to my twisty, because that's going to be that's probably one of the next costumes I put together if given the opportunity. I don't know if I have quite that creepy demeanor as far as because like I said, that smile's just awesome, and like I said, it's definitely it's unnerving. So of course, do you have a lot of people that kind of like that saw the movie and know you personally, kind of like look at you differently now, like and when you smile at them now?
Yeah, a few of them. Yeah, I get people who want me to do the smile all the time now too. So I'm like, yeah, of course I'll just do the little smile, the little wave, and all that. So it's fun. I love it. It could be worse.
And of course, like I said, Scarefest, I'm sure you're going to be probably asked that a lot too when they come up. They're going to be, hey, do the smile for me. So, and you may as well go ahead and like just dry your lips out, and just kind of stick them up in your teeth so you can have that permanent smile there. Kind of like Joker.
Yeah, just it become like Conrad Veidt and like the Man Who Laughs, and just have like a permanent.
Oh yeah, Mr. Sardonicus kind of thing going on. So, yeah.
I think the most important thing would be to eat a bag of Oreos at your table.
Oh yeah,
to get the full effect.
Yes, that's because I've had people ask me how they got my teeth like that. And I was like, oh, they did prosthetics. I'm like, well, how could I do that? I'm like, I don't know. And I'm like, oh, Oreos, it's a great idea.
Hey, I have my few genius moments on the air for the viewers. Now, we're almost at the end of the show. We do want to. I know you got some appearances coming up, some cons. What you got on the books for people if they don't want to wait till Scarefest?
Yes. Well, I'm trying to remember all off the top of my head right now, but I know in January I'm going to be at Days of the Dead in Atlanta. Very last week, I think, of January. And in February, I'm going to be at Mad Monster Party. I'm doing several Mad Monster Party in North Carolina, Charlotte. And I'm doing so many more next year. I need to write all these down. But I'm doing more Scarefest. I'm doing like one up in Canada and, Atlantic City, even Germany next year. I have at least once a month. So I'm like, this is great. I'm loving it. Traveling all over.
Yeah, now I saw Mad Monster coming up. We're kind of bouncing around looking for places to promote the Scarefest, and I told the owners that if they send me anywhere before March, had to be south. And so that one kind of popped up. Now we'll get in my own shameless self promotion. Everybody. Scarefest Radio's next remote, my next appearance, assuming Brandon has gotten the ticket straightened out, is Vet CityCon. Scarefest Radio is going to Vet City Con down in Bowling Green, Kentucky, January 25th through 26th, and assuming there's not like a foot of snow on the roads. But, so we do want to put that out there. Vet City Con, we are planning on going there. And some people ask me, by the way, about Days of the Dead Louisville coming up. Originally, I had said, yeah, probably, but then I got to thinking, that's the same weekend as Michigan Paracon, and we were kind of wanting to go to Michigan for whatever reason, so that's kind of up in the air, people, as far as, but that's August, that's way away. Also, a little public service announcement today on Facebook. No, I did not poison my dog. Cool your tits, everybody. I wiped my fingers after eating chocolate on my pants, and he licked my pants. I'm sure there was not enough of the horrible, horrible chemical on my fingers to hurt my dog. So everybody just cool your tits there. I'm sure that he is quite safe. David, it's been a lot of fun. This is one of those nights I wish I'd planned for 2 hours because I've really enjoyed talking to you.
So fast.
It's all the crap that I fill the beginning of the show with, just in case you're a dry fart, But never works out that way. Jason, any final questions?
I mean, it's been an absolute pleasure. Like I said, I look forward to meeting you at Scarefest, and like I said, we'll show you. We'll show you around. We'll get you some bourbon if you drink bourbon, or definitely show you some hospitality when you come down. We got some fantastic food. We have a lot of different food vendors and things down there. So pretty much anything you want. Like I said, we'll make sure you get taken care of when you come see us.
Sounds great. I look forward to it.
Yes, I'll show you the party scene, the Scarefest party scene, which incidentally, I've been going all the years. I still haven't got the hang of. I do all my crap on the first night, the launch party, and then the VIP party is Friday night. And the VIP party, which never starts rocking until Wesley leaves. I think it's actually a conspiracy. But my ass gets tired and goes to bed. And then they say, "Oh, Tiffany Shepard was taking her clothes off in the..." But we do have a lot of fun. We are definitely looking forward to having you and introducing you. Of course, you're from Alabama. Kentucky hospitality will just be, that's another hospitality thing.
Exactly. It's the whole Southern hospitality.
So everybody, I want to thank you for watching Scarefest Radio.
And you wave and say hi, you'll actually get a reply back.
Yes.
It's true.
We will look like you have two heads, or you're a killer clown or something. So
yeah.
On that note, quick question: in Alabama, when you all drive around, do you do the little finger flip off the steering wheel and wave at everybody?
Oh, of course.
Okay, cool.
Oh yeah. And it's like you don't even have to know the person; you just wave.
Yeah, it's just automatic. When you pass somebody, if it's little hand goes up on the steering wheel. Welcome to the South, everyone. This has been Scarefest Radio. I think we've had a lot of fun tonight. Hey, next week, everybody, the annual semi-drunken, because some of the people that's going to be on with us say they're not drinking. But anyway, I will be drunk. The holiday party, Scarefest episode, when you don't know what's going to freaking happen. And for the first time, it's going to be on video. And the second time, first time ever, we're going to try to get all of the co-hosts on screen at one time. It'd be like a big Brady Bunch thing for you to watch. But so we'll see how that goes. But it's the end of the year, everybody. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, and next year, more great stuff kicking off the year for Scarefest Radio.